Growing up with a narcissistic father often means constant criticism, fear, and doubt, and it leaves deep marks that can follow you into adulthood. Here are 9 common signs daughters raised by narcissistic fathers might recognize in themselves. Sign 1. Difficulty trusting men. Daughters of narcissistic fathers often struggle to trust men because their earliest experiences taught them that male authority is unpredictable, critical, or emotionally unsafe. Care from a man didn't feel consistent or genuine. It often came with control, criticism, or conditions attached. As an adult, when someone shows kindness or affection, it can trigger suspicion rather than comfort. You may feel like they have hidden intentions, want to use you, or will eventually turn against you. At the core, you might feel that you are not naturally lovable, that love must be earned through achievement, obedience, or perfection. This belief forms in childhood, where approval was conditional and criticism was constant. How it shows in daily life. You question people's motives, even when there's no clear sign of manipulation. You hesitate to get close or fully trust in romantic relationships because vulnerability feels risky. Genuine care or affection can make you uncomfortable, guarded, or emotionally distant. Sign 2. Chronic anxiety. Growing up with a narcissistic father often trains you to live in fear from an early age. When he comes home, you might rush to your room or feel relief when he was gone. Even small mistakes could lead to harsh criticism or punishment, teaching you that making any mistake is dangerous. Over time, this fear becomes automatic, following you even into adulthood. How it shows in daily life. You feel tense or scared when he is around, even if he hasn't said anything yet. You might feel anxious when he calls your name, unsure how he will react. This hypervigilance often carries into adult life, making it hard to relax, speak freely, or trust that situations are safe. Sign 3. Persistent self-doubt. Growing up with a narcissistic father means facing constant criticism. Words like "you're stupid," "not smart," or "you can't do anything right" are repeated so often that you start to believe them. Mistakes are punished harshly, and nothing you do seems enough. Over time, this creates a deep-seated belief. Maybe they're right. Maybe you are incapable. How it shows in adult life. You doubt yourself constantly, even when facing opportunities or challenges that are within your abilities. Negative self-talk becomes loud and persistent, making it hard to believe you can achieve important goals or dreams. Even when others encourage you or praise you, it can feel hard to accept because your mind has learned to expect criticism. Sign 4. Fear of romantic relationships. Growing up with a narcissistic father often teaches you that love can be conditional, controlling, or unsafe. If you also witnessed your mother being mistreated, you may fear ending up in a similar situation. Even when someone shows care or affection, part of you may feel guarded or unsure, expecting eventual disappointment or betrayal. Deep down, many daughters of narcissistic fathers carry the belief that they are not truly lovable as they are. There's a fear that if someone really knew you, they wouldn't love you. So you either stay distant, self-protective, or emotionally unavailable. How it shows in daily life. You hesitate to get close to people, afraid that vulnerability will lead to hurt. You may avoid romantic relationships or keep emotional distance to protect yourself. Even healthy expressions of love can make you feel uncomfortable or suspicious. Sign 5. Difficulty with vulnerability. Growing up with a narcissistic father often teaches you to rely on yourself emotionally because expressing feelings was unsafe. You may have learned to hide your emotions, cry alone, or suppress your thoughts to avoid criticism or punishment. Over time, opening up feels risky, like exposing a part of yourself that could be used against you. Deep down, you may believe that showing vulnerability is dangerous. Expressing emotions could lead to judgment, rejection, or manipulation, so it feels safer to keep your feelings to yourself. How it shows in daily life. You avoid sharing your emotions, even with people you trust. You may feel uncomfortable when others ask how you feel, or when someone tries to get close emotionally. Crying, asking for support, or being honest about your feelings can feel frightening or exposing. Sign 6. Overthinking and not trusting your judgment. Growing up with a narcissistic father often means your choices were criticized, controlled, or dismissed. You learned early that you couldn't trust your own decisions because mistakes were punished or harshly criticized. Over time, this creates a pattern of overthinking and second-guessing yourself in almost every decision. You internalize the idea that your own judgment is unreliable. You may feel like you can't make the right choice, so you rely on others to decide for you, even when you have the knowledge or ability to handle it yourself. How it shows in daily life. You overanalyze small decisions, worried about making the wrong choice. You may rely heavily on others' opinions before taking action. Mistakes feel like proof that you're incapable rather than a normal part of learning. Sign 7. Struggling with saying no. Growing up with a narcissistic father often means that saying no or not doing what he wants could lead to anger, criticism, or punishment. You learn early that refusing him feels risky, so you adapt by saying yes, even when you don't want to. Over time, this pattern can carry into adulthood, making it difficult to set boundaries or stand up for yourself. You may feel that refusing someone will make you a bad person or cause conflict. So saying no feels unsafe or selfish. How it shows in daily life. You often agree to things you don't want to do to avoid conflict. You may feel guilty or anxious when setting personal boundaries. Saying no to others can feel like risking punishment, disapproval, or abandonment. Sign 8. Paralyzing perfectionism. Growing up with a narcissistic father often means that mistakes were punished or criticized harshly. You learn early that being imperfect feels dangerous or unacceptable. Over time, this teaches you to aim for perfection in everything you do, making it hard to start projects, take risks, or accept that mistakes are normal. Deep down, many daughters of narcissistic fathers carry the belief that anything less than perfect is failure. They may feel that making mistakes proves they're not good enough, so they try to control every outcome or avoid starting altogether. How it shows in daily life. You may delay starting projects, waiting to feel ready or perfect. You push yourself to achieve flawlessly, and anything less feels like failure. Mistakes can feel catastrophic rather than normal, causing stress or even quitting. Sign 9. It's hard to be yourself. At an early age, you start believing the negative things said about you. You may have been told you're dumb, careless, or not smart. You felt invisible or were constantly compared to other kids. Over time, these messages sink in and you begin to see yourself through that critical lens. Deep down, you may believe that being yourself will lead to rejection or criticism. This fear drives you to agree with others, stay quiet, or adapt, even when something doesn't align with your true values. Over time, it can make you lose touch with who you really are and what truly matters to you. How it shows in daily life. You feel like no one would truly like you for who you are. You adjust yourself depending on who you're with, trying to fit in or avoid judgment. You avoid expressing your real thoughts or opinions because you're afraid of being seen as different. If these signs feel familiar, remember, you are not broken and you are not alone. Growing up with a narcissistic father can make life feel confusing and unfair, but recognizing these patterns is the first step toward healing. You can learn to trust yourself, set boundaries, and embrace who you truly are. You have the power to break these patterns and take a different path than the one you witnessed growing up. If this helped, you can like the video and subscribe for more content like this. And if you know someone who might benefit from it, feel free to share it.